What's the purpose of road cones?
The purpose of the road cones, while talking to people involved in putting out the road cones, is actually to keep the public away from the work site, but it's also to keep people safe in the work site.
So to keep both the public and workers safe, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so between 2019 and 2023, there were 42 fatalities, 314 serious injuries at places where a temporary speed limit was in place. And the vast majority of those were actually road users, so members of the public, rather than workers on those work sites. What evidence do you have that reducing the number of road cones won't cause even more deaths?
Well, we don't know exactly what will happen with the road cone policy, but what we do know is that there are far too many of them.
Well, how do you know that?
But Jack, you looked around the country. Well, no, you've just practically a sea of orange cones.
You've just said we don't know what will happen with the road cone policy. I mean, how do you know that it won't lead to more deaths? If workers stop putting out so many road cones, how do you know that we won't see those numbers increase?
Well, what I can say quite confidently is I believe that we will actually see a reduction in deaths around these work sites.
So my question is, how do you know?
Because at the moment, there's just a sea of orange everywhere. And we know that when people see PPE everywhere, they stop seeing it. It just becomes your everyday. And when you don't see the harm, you assume that the next time you see a road cone and you see a sea of road cones, there isn't going to be a harm there. And so out of this fear of non-compliance, we've just seen too many road cones be put out, and it's not proportionate to the risk of the actual project.
Do you have any evidence that reducing the number of road cones won't lead to more incidents?
I don't have any specifics, but what we can
no
say...
evidence.
Well, no, because we haven't tried to reduce them yet, have we?
Right. So there's no evidence that's underlying this policy. I know your party values evidence-based policy, but what would be the productivity cost of too many road cones?
It's actually very high. So you'd have to actually talk to NZTA specifically to find the numbers. But I think it's around 10% of construction costs are actually the costs of temporary traffic management. And with the new temporary traffic management guide, which is to try and have a more proportionate risk-based approach rather than the very prescriptive approach that we had last year, we are actually already seeing a reduction in cost to work sites and to the overall construction.
But the cost isn't the individual road cones, right? So obviously you're still going to need temporary traffic management when you've got a big work site in the middle of a road somewhere. So you're still going to have the lights, or you're still going to have a stop-go sign, that kind of thing. That's where the cost is. It's not on the bit of plastic.
Oh no, I think you'll find it is as well.
So you don't have evidence at the moment that reducing road cones will save lives. It's a theory at the moment, but you are focused on productivity. NZTA puts the statistical value of a human life at $12.5 million. So how many road cones would have to be removed to justify even one additional death?
Look, Jack, I'm not getting into numbers like that. I think that's a very dangerous game to get into. But what we do know...
Sorry, Minister, isn't that your job?
No, what we do know is that when people see road cones, there is a frustration with them, which means that people have more anger and more aggression.
But they also slow down.
They don't see the harm. Are they slowing down? I don't think that's the case.
But you think that reducing road cones will make them slow down?
That's right, because we'll see fewer of them.
Quote, "When it came to COVID, we completely blew out what the value of a life was. Completely. I've never seen such a high value on life." Give us more context. What did you mean by that line?